Workaholics and Wanderers, Work Habits of History's Greats. Dear viewer, let's talk about the tortoise, the hare, and the coffee-fueled genius. Picture two types of legends. One, a wild-eyed inventor chained to his desk, surviving on deep black coffee and manic inspiration. The other, a leisurely philosopher, pondering life between naps and wine. Who changed the world more? The answer, like a Red Bull crash after an all-nighter, is complicated. Some of history's greatest minds were relentless workaholics, cranking out masterpieces like a factory conveyor belt of genius. Others, they dawdled, meandered, and occasionally stared at walls until brilliance struck like lightning. So, let's jump headfirst into the work hard versus work smart, or not work at all, debate, with a parade of famous figures, sprinkled with philosophical musings on whether workaholism is a virtue, a vice, or just a really bad sleep schedule. Warning: this video may contain traces of pretentious vocabulary, meandering metaphors, and intentional alliteration. Part 1. The Workaholics, When Genius Met Insomnia. These are the folks who treated relaxation like a mythical beast, rare, suspicious, and probably a waste of time. These obsessives believed in a no sleep, just legacy policy. Leonardo da Vinci, the original Renaissance multitasker, da Vinci juggled painting, anatomy, engineering, and war machines while barely sleeping. He followed polyphasic sleep, 20-minute naps every 4 hours, which either made him a superhuman or a zombie. Historians still debate which one. His notebooks were filled with half-finished projects, proving that even geniuses struggle with follow-through when they're too busy inventing helicopters in the 1500s. Nikola Tesla survived on 2 hours of sleep a night, and he once worked for 84 hours straight in a lab, and claimed his best ideas came from a blinding flash of light, otherworldly inspiration, or sleep-deprived hallucinations. You make the call. Thomas Edison, the man who stole sleep from his employees, famously said, "Sleep is a criminal waste of time." His lab assistants endured 120-hour work weeks, leading one to quit, muttering something like, "I need a nap, not a napalm-paced career." Edison famously quipped, "Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration." He himself napped at his desk, but only in short bursts because apparently even workaholics need microdoses of unconsciousness. Napoleon Bonaparte. While his military genius is undeniable, his capacity for work was equally astonishing. He could dictate letters and orders for hours on end, even amidst the chaos of military campaigns. Sleep, it appeared, was a mere inconvenience for this workaholic warrior whose ambition fueled an almost superhuman level of exertion. Modern workaholics, the sleepless elite. Fast forward to today, and the cult of overwork is alive and well. Elon Musk claims to work 120-hour weeks, and once said, "Nobody ever changed the world on 40 hours a week." Tell that to Shakespeare, who wrote Hamlet between pub visits. Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, was famously obsessed over minute details, like the curve of an iPhone's corner, and believed that real artists ship, meaning work until it's perfect and ship it out, even if it kills you. Spoiler alert, it kind of did. Oprah Winfrey, the queen of media. Oprah is another workaholic who turned her passion into an empire. From hosting her talk show to running a magazine and a television network, Oprah's overwork ethic is legendary. Part 2. The Work Hard, Play Hard, Structured Stalwarts. Not all workaholics were chaotic. Some just loved a regimented routine. Immanuel Kant, this philosopher, was so punctual that neighbors set their clocks by his 3:30 p.m. daily walk. He wrote like clockwork, proving Germans really do love efficiency. His life was so regimented that when he was 5 minutes late once, due to reading Rousseau's Émile, it became a local legend. Benjamin Franklin, he was the ultimate Enlightenment workaholic. He was a man who treated time like a miser hoards gold, squeezing every drop of productivity from his 5 a.m. wake-ups to his meticulously scheduled once-a-day air baths. Between inventing bifocals, founding libraries, drafting the Constitution, and flirting with French aristocrats, he crammed enough achievements for 3 lifetimes into his 84 years, all while preaching the gospel of industriousness with sayings like, "Lost time is never found again." The balanced minds. These peeps worked hard but knew when to stop and smell the chili dogs. Albert Einstein played violin breaks to feed his soul, took long walks and once said, "I think and think for months and years. 99 times the conclusion is wrong. The 100th time, I am right." He also napped frequently, proving that relativity applies to work schedules too. Winston Churchill, this bulldog of Britain, napped daily during World War II, declaring, "You must sleep some time between lunch and dinner. No halfway measures." However, his output was staggering. Speeches that rallied a nation, countless memoranda, and a prodigious stream of correspondence flowed from his pen. J.K. Rowling, the creator of Harry Potter, famously wrote her first book in cafes while balancing single motherhood. While she worked hard, Rowling has spoken about the importance of taking breaks and not succumbing to the pressure of constant productivity. Middle Path, Nietzsche's dance of discipline and chaos. Friedrich Nietzsche believed greatness required both frenzy and rest. He said, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." Nietzsche also warned that all great things must first wear terrifying and monstrous masks, which is either deep wisdom or an excuse to scare the kids on Halloween. And then afterwards, there is rest. Part 3. The chill geniuses who napped their way to greatness. These legendary procrastination pros treated deadlines like vague suggestions and still changed history. Victor Hugo, he wrote The Hunchback of Notre Dame only after his publisher locked him in a room and confiscated his clothes. No distractions, just desperation. He also took 5 years to write Les Misérables, mostly because he kept getting sidetracked by political activism and mistresses. Frank Lloyd Wright. This famous architect designed falling water in 2 hours after months of ignoring the client's calls. He also once told a client, "You'll love the house once you learn how to live in it," which is architect speak for "I'll do what I want." Douglas Adams, author and creator of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, was famous for his laid-back approach to writing. He would often procrastinate, indulging in copious amounts of tea until deadlines loomed large. Adams' wit and humor were products of his unique blend of laziness and creative genius. The anti-workaholics. These rebels straight up rejected the hamster wheel of human existence. Bertrand Russell. He wrote an essay titled In Praise of Idleness, arguing that laziness birthed civilization. Farming, invented so we could sit more. He also claimed that the time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time, which is the perfect excuse for binge-watching streaming TV. Oscar Wilde, this Irish writer, claimed hard work is simply the refuge of people who have nothing better to do, then proved it by writing The Picture of Dorian Gray between parties. He also once said, "I never put off till tomorrow what I can do the day after," making him the patron saint of procrastinators. Part 4. Philosophers on Workaholism. Is hustle culture a scam? A few of the ancient Greek philosophers thought that work was a necessary evil. Aristotle said leisure, schole, was the highest form of human activity, and work just funded the good life. He believed that humans should strive for eudaimonia, a state of flourishing that encompasses happiness, fulfillment, and living a virtuous life. Aristotle believed that contemplation, not labor, was the pinnacle of existence, which explains why Greek philosophers spent so much time lying around in togas. Epicurus argued happiness came from simple pleasures, not endless toil. His idea of a perfect day, a loaf of bread, some cheese, a little light karaoke, and zero overtime. Modern critics, capitalism's sleep-deprived hamsters. Karl Marx called workaholism alienation. It's when labor owns you, not the other way around. He argued that under capitalism, workers become cogs in a machine, grinding away without real fulfillment. Byung-Chul Han, 21st century philosopher, says today's hustle culture is self-exploitation. We're not forced to overwork. We volunteer for it like masochistic productivity junkies. His book, The Burnout Society, argues that we're not oppressed by dictators anymore. We're oppressed by our own to-do lists. To grind or to zen? So, dear viewer, should you work like Tesla or lounge like Wilde? The answer, as always, is it depends. If you're inventing electricity or painting the Sistine Chapel, maybe embrace the madness. If you're pondering life's meaning, take a nap. Philosophy's real lesson: balance is key because even machines overheat, and even sloths survive. Now, dear viewer, you have only one question to ask yourself. Which kind of genius am I? Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go practice Wildean idleness. Or, on second thought, maybe just take a Churchill-approved nap.